Greetings, everybody. How's it going? My name is Melissa, and this is my channel Geeky Witch about all things cross stitch. It has been many months since my last stitchy confession. I have just been going nuts. I've been stitching. I've been going through all the stuff that life gives me, and I just have not been able to get a good, like hour, 2 hours to be able to just sit and prep a video and just chill. So it is 2 minutes to midnight. Everyone else is in bed. My house is finally quiet. So we're going to do a video now so that I can get one out, because I had intended to have this done and up 2 days ago. And this week just went bananas. So we're going to do it when we can. And we're going to do it before the snowstorm gets here in the next 24 hours. And who knows where my power will be. So, all right. Before I show you what I've been working on for the last 7-8 months, I think we're at, I wanted to let you know that I'm trying something a little bit new on Sunday afternoons. I am doing live streaming where people can just get together and stitch from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. That currently is UTC minus 5, I believe. And then once it goes to daylight savings time in a couple of weeks, it'll be UTC minus 4. But I'm on US Eastern time, which is the same as New York City. So if you need to look at conversions, look at New York. That's what time zone I'm in. Anyway, the live streams basically are getting together. I'm the only one on camera. We do 3 45-minute sprints for productivity, kind of like the Pomodoro method that you may have heard about if you are involved in any sort of a focused study timer. So we set aside 45 minutes. You work on whatever you're working on, whether it's cross stitch, reading a book, writing, hanging out, whatever you want to do. When that 45 minutes is over, we come back, we kind of stretch, grab yourself a coffee, chat for a little bit, for like 5 or 6 minutes. And then we're going to repeat that 2 more times. And that way you have a dedicated time every week to stitch. It's why I started doing it, so that I know I have time that I sit down and stitch every week. And I've been doing this now for about a month and a half, and it seems to be going pretty well. Last week was kind of quiet, but I had to take the week before that off, so I think some people forgot that I was on. But anyway, Sundays 3 to 6 p.m. Come join us. Would love to see you. Say hi. It'll all be here on YouTube. I'm cross-streaming it to my Facebook. But, pop by. You don't even have to say anything. You can just lurk. That's cool too. But I love to know what people are working on. So, that's my plug. And now I'll get into what I've been doing since my last check-in. 2025 was my 50th birthday year. It's midnight. I decided to let caution go to the wind, and I was going to allow myself to start anything I wanted to all year, because, hey, it's my birthday. I'm turning 50. Life's too short. Let me start all the things. And I started quite a few things. I, believe it or not, did not start as much as I thought I was going to start, but I started quite a few things. But what kind of surprised me was that amid all the starts, my brain went to one piece that I was about, a third of the way through, and it just kind of kept it coming back into my rotation and coming back into my, I'm getting some momentum on it, and I'm working on it, and I'm working on it. And by about September, I realized I'm going to finish this thing this year. And this is a big piece. fine, let's let it roll. Let myself start things, had little bits on starts, but didn't really focus on anything else last year except this. And on December 31st, I finished Jade Band Sampler from iStitch Designs. Now, this is a stitch along that's been going on through Facebook from the iStitch Designs designer for the past, I want to say 10 years. And every year she comes out with a band sampler that she designs according to a color theme. But the colors, you can do it in any color you want, but she names it according to a color theme. Costs about $30. And she releases one section of it a week for about 26 to 30 weeks, depending on the year. So, you know, it starts in about January, first week of January, goes through the end of August. Jade Band Sampler was the 2021 version, and it was the first one I did. And I'd seen a couple of my friends who had worked on other ones, and I really, really liked it. It was intended to be stitched over one, and I decided I wanted a lazy piece, and I was just going to stitch it over two. I don't have problems stitching over one, but I wanted a lazy piece to do on 28 count over two. Easy going, can stitch it on any time of day. It's on white fabric. Easy peasy. Well, I didn't take into consideration how long the piece was over one. And of course, if you stitch it over two, that means it's going to be twice as long. So I now have a band sampler that is really, really big. I'm 5'4" and a little bit. My husband is 6'3", and this is as tall as he is. When I upload this video, I will probably finish off the video with the picture of me standing next to him with him holding it up, so that you can see how long this thing actually is. But I'm going to unroll it, and while I'm sitting here, I'm going to go through the whole thing for you so you can see how this looks. So this was started on, according to my notes, I started it on the 13th of January 2021, so it was basically like a delayed birthday start for me. And then I finished it on December 31st, 2025. It's on 28 count banding, antique white, and the threads are from Amaranthine on Etsy. She did some really neat combination dyes where she did like a color theme, but all of the different skeins were just a little bit different. They were like hand painted flosses, and for the concept of jade, I just focused in on our green one because not only did it have some really pretty different shades of green, but there also were some like little flecks of like an orangey color and a little bit of a brown, which you sometimes see in pieces of jade. So I'm like, that would be perfect. Aside from the border, everything on this was just randomly colored as I went, week by week. I had no plan. The border, I did pull a couple of skeins and put them aside and label them as the border, so that the border would stay with a consistent couple of skein patterning. But the rest of it literally is just, oh yeah, I'll do that, and grabbed it out and just played with floss. So here is how this, let me make sure I get my angle right here. Okay, so here's how this goes. This was the beginning, and some of the colors that you see at the beginning, like this super light green, I ran out of, and you don't see it towards the bottom, but the whole thing just works. So I'm just going to slowly scroll this up. Oh, let me turn it a little bit more that way. And I'll also show you when I get to there where I was when at the beginning of 2025, because I was not as far along as you would think. Okay, so I started 2025 right in this alphabet here. So you're going to see how much more I did through 2025. And this, it honestly is an easy stitch. It's just big, but it's all cross. Lots of alphabets, but alphabets are fine. Lots of fun little bands, and like just enough with the bands before you got tired of something. Um, I did get a little tired of alphabets, but you know, but at least they were all different. But yeah, and there's the bottom of the piece there. The only thing I didn't do, and I probably, by the time I get it framed, that I might actually add, I've been debating whether I wanted to put the end year here or put it in tiny letters down on the bottom. I haven't decided where I'm doing them yet, whether I'll put them like here and here or there. I haven't figured it out yet. For right now, I'm keeping this on a scroll rod to keep it protected. Eventually, it will go on a gigantic wooden spool. Where is my spool? I forgot to bring the spool out. Anyway, when I was at Stitching at the Farm, a couple of the ladies went to a antique shop, and they found one of those big old industrial spools, and it fits this perfectly. So that's how it's going to get finished. I'm going to let it roll around the spool. I'd like to get some hurricane glass to protect it, to put it like up on a mantle, but also be able to just hang it off the wall as a gigantic bell pull. So I will probably finish the bottom corner here into a point with like a button here so it can wrap around to, you know, close it. But yeah, so that was my huge finish for 2025. Really, really happy with it. And believe it or not, I started the next year after that. I have denim to do, which is about as long as this one. But that one I'm going to keep on the back burner for a little bit while I work on some of my other projects. So you might see that one come out in like 2028, 2029. All right. So that was the big finish. I did do a couple of small ornaments for ornament exchanges. Photos are long gone, but my partners got those. They loved them. Yay. Uh, and that's the extent of my finishes for 2025. It really was this, but it's massive. So I'm going to take the win on that. Okay, so Jade Band Sampler took up a good chunk of the year. You know, as I mentioned, I kind of got rolling on it and I just wanted to finish it. That's rare for me. I really have always been a constantly rotating, whatever I'm in the mood for, stitcher, stitch what I want to stitch. Um, but I've always had a little bit of structure around what I stitch. Like I have WIPGO going on, or I have an actual formal rotation going on where, you know, I pick like 6 or 7 projects and that's what I'm going to work on those 7, and then I can swap things out, but for this rotation round I'm going to work on those. Um, that's how I normally have stitched. This year, because of turning 50, and I decided to do a to heck with it, life's too short. I'm throwing all caution to the wind this year, and I'm going to start whatever the heck I want to start. So I had like a pile and a half of things that I was like, nope, I'm going to start anything this year. And I fully intended to go ridiculous this year with starts and end the year going, oh, I'm in triple digit WIPs now. Oops. I didn't care. I figured life's too short. Let's start all the things. What the hell? And then I kind of got going on Jade Band Sampler, and I was like, no, I really want to finish this. So I did have my starts. I had quite a few starts last year. Not as many as I thought I would, but Jade Band Sampler just kind of kept coming up and kept coming up. So by the time Jade was getting to a point, yeah, Jade isn't the easiest one to travel with because it was on a scroll frame, and it was on a weird scroll frame that I kind of frankened together. It wasn't on like a scroll frame that came as like an organized brand set. It was like bars from one thing, and it was, it didn't match. Wasn't easy to travel with, required me to bring my Lowry frame with me, which I love using my Lowry, but it's not the easiest thing to travel with. It's a bit of a pain in the butt. So I was like, I'll bring it, but depending on what the setup is at an in-person retreat, working on Jade Band Sampler isn't going to be the most practical thing. So I plan to have starts during the retreats, and that's honestly when I got them done. I started quite a few things at the end of the year, partially because I was like, wow, I was going to start all this stuff this year, and then I haven't started as many things as I thought I was going to. There's still quite a few things in this cabinet over here that are like fully kitted up that I prepared to start last year that didn't happen. So, but I did get starts done. And, well, starts started, not done. So I'm going to show those to you because that's pretty much the only other thing that happened during the other half of the year. I got a few stitches in on things here and there, but I don't remember what I worked on other than Jade and these starts. So, because my record keeping went off the deep end, and literally this week before I was making my video, I'm going back and scrolling through my phone through photos because I always take a photo before I start something, and was updating my log that I keep, with all my written notes, because I hadn't started my log sheets on these projects just because that's how last year went. So, yeah. All right, so we'll get the starts going. Toby, stay in your box, please. Don't come across the desk right now. My cat is over here in the box. Okay. You don't need to see that. What am I thinking? All right. So this is Autumn Splendor and by Brenda Gervais. And I picked this up on a freebie table at a little group hangout, that kind of an impromptu hangout that happened at the end of September. I was like, oh, that's cute. And I needed something to start. I don't even remember why. I was like, oh, you know what it was? I brought something to stitch on, and for some reason I didn't have my floss. It was like, what am I, new? So thankfully on the table, there was a fully kitted piece that I could start, because apparently I don't know how to pack for stitching. So I started this. And whoever brought it on the freebie table, it must have been from a Dying to Stitch retreat, because it's got the floss card here. And this is how much I got done during that one day little retreat. This is on a 36 count R&R Fabrics called Barb's Blend. All of the flosses are Weeks Dye Works, and the wing on this one that you see here is Smyrna crosses, and the rest of it so far is regular cross stitch. So that was my cute little start with that little gathering of friends, which was awesome. Had a lot of fun. I was just up there for a day. Some of them had decided to go away for a weekend, but I couldn't swing that for a variety of reasons. So that was start number one. And then I went to Stitch New England the following weekend. And I intentionally brought things I wanted to start to Stitch New England. Partially because when you go to a big retreat like that and you kind of know what the setup's going to be, but you know, depending on where you sit in a room, you don't always know what your light is going to be like. And also, one thing I need to invest in this year for a retreat is I need a battery powered light. I don't have one. I only have plug-in ones because I'm old. And it's like, oh yeah, we're going to USB port ones now. You know, I need to get up with the times a little bit. So I don't have any modern USB lights that are battery charged. So I had to rely on things that I knew I was going to be able to see while I was at the retreat. The first piece that I brought was Lola Crow's Haunted Library. That was a stitch along like 3 years ago. It was 2022. And I really wanted to do it, but I hadn't had time at that time to do it. So, you know, I was saving the parts and I'm going to get this started someday. And then, of course, for my birthday, I'm like, I'm absolutely going to start this one this year. The Deadly Aquarium was the other one I have to start. Still kitted, still in those containers over there. Just haven't started yet. I figure I'll get this one done, then I'll start that one. I only have part 1 printed off. I'm only going to print off the part I'm working on at the time. So this is part 1. And when I brought it to the retreat, I only had the floss and the pattern. I didn't have fabric. I knew that I would probably find a piece of fabric that would work really, really well while I was there. Since Stitch New England always sets up a good shop in there, I'm like, there's got to be fabric that I can find for this thing. This is not going to be that hard. And I walk into the shop, and lo and behold, they had the perfect fabric with the perfect name. It was fate. So this is what I got done during the first day of the retreat. And I have this on a massive half yard, which I don't need for this thing, but I just haven't trimmed it down. That's what I got done on day 1. It's all in DMC. The name of the fabric is Crypt Cloth from Lap and Loops. This is 28 count, so nice and easy for me to see. But isn't that gorgeous? And it's actually coming up pretty true to color on the screen. It's almost like a alabaster's coming to name, and that's not right. But it's almost got like a peachy parchment look to it. It's not that yellowed parchment. It's more of a peach undertone parchment. But oh, it's just perfect for this. So I'm so happy. But that's what I got done at the first week of the retreat. Have not worked on it since because I got, again, waylaid going back into Jade band sampler. But that's okay. It is on WIPGO, and it will find some stitches this year, guaranteed. Then the next day at the retreat, I decided to start a piece that I'd had sitting in my stash for a few years, fully kitted, and I am a sucker for Jeanette Douglas because I've taken 2 classes with her, love her to death. If you ever have an opportunity to take a class with Jeanette, especially in person, she is the sweetest person, cheerfully Canadian, just warm, friendly, easygoing, encourages you to find your way around the different stitches she does, not the hard and fast, you need to do things this way. If you can figure out a way to make it work for you, she is like gung-ho cheerleader. So I picked this up from her, I want to say in 2018 at Celebrations in Nashua. And absolutely, I'm a sucker for Halloween as it is. But this was kitted with all of the floss. And Jeanette always uses silks. So I put it on a wheel that I'd gotten from Black Needle. And that is all of the flosses with my numbers written on the back. It's a little messy, but it works. And this is the fabric I picked for it. It is 40 count Amazon moss from Silk Weaver. I have a very, very, very small start on it. I got the spiders done in the top. And then, of course, I have my yard flamingo, skeleton yard flamingo needle minder on it. But so that's what I got done that day. Not a ton, but that's okay. It works. I'm happy. And this is also on WIPGO for the year, so it will see some more love this year. Okay. I did not start anything new at the farm this year. I was hell-bent on getting jade done. I think I tinkered on a couple of little things I was working on, but I focused on jade. I wanted to get it done. So I chugged right along on it. No new starts while I was there. But then I went to the Jingle Ball, and I decided that I was going to take a class this year, and I lucked out and I got one of the fully kitted projects. There were like 4 projects I wanted to do during the Jingle Ball, but I just couldn't afford to do all of them this year, both financially and time-wise. So picked my favorite of them, and I decided to do the Winter Woods Biscornu from the Blue Flower. I love her pieces. I think they're super cute. Janine's my type of... I love animals, you know, especially animals that come from areas that I've lived. And it just was like, oh, yes. Okay. So I got the fully kitted piece. So this is the original. This is the color palette with the flosses that came with it. It's a mix of DMC, Roxy floss, which I'd never used before. So this is my first time using Roxy. Is there anything else in there? Oh, Cottage Garden threads. That's right. So, nice palette. And then the kitted fabric that came with it is pistachio, 32 count from Fiber on a Whim. And I started it during the class itself, and that's how far I got during the class. And this is going to be a big Biscornu, because I think that this is only, I mean, this line maybe be going a little over the halfway mark, but you know, those trees are on the quarters, so that's a big tree. So yeah, this is gonna be a big Biscornu, but it's gonna be awesome. So that was what I got done during the retreat, and then during Jingle Ball, and then it went away as I again went back into frantically now working on jade, because I'm like, I only have a couple of weeks left to get this done before the end of 2025. So that just became the focus. That's all I did for all of December. And then I got it done on the last day. And then WIPGO started. So that's all of 2025. That catches you up. I worked on frogworts a little bit. I'll show frogworts later this year because year 7 is coming out, which will wrap it up. And I think that's the only other retreat that I've done since, and the only other piece I may have worked on since I saw you last. But you'll see that later this year as I continue working on it. So 2026 comes around, and I decided this year that I was going to start the Fox and Rabbit stitch along. I wanted to do last year's, but I keep like going back and forth on what I want to do for colors on it, especially to start off, because I keep deciding whether I want to have that center part of it as a pool, or if I just want to completely single color the whole thing, or what. So because I'm still waffling on it, I haven't started it yet. I got all the pieces saved. I'll get there eventually. But I decided, hey, I just finished a band sampler, so I might as well jump in on another band sampler, right? So I started the new Fox and Rabbit on New Year's Day. And let me grab that one out of the pile here, because I didn't put these in order. So this is the printout on black and white of both January and February to date. And I laughed because, oh look, it's got an alphabet going vertically, just like Jade Band Sampler had. But yeah, so this is a mystery sampler this year. As of today, this is all that's been released. The name of it is AI 1664, or the 2026 Mystery Sampler. It is located on Fox and Rabbit's website. It is free until the 31st of December, Australian time. So 30th of December here in the US, it's going to go away. And then you just have to pay for it. So if you want it for free, you need to get it downloaded before the 30th of December if you're in the US. Just ideally, just do it on the 1st of December and you're done. They do amazing samplers, and it is insane that they even release them for free at all, because these are samplers that are easily like the $20 huge samplers that you see. I mean, a couple of these are the same size as a freaking chatelaine. Not quite that intricate, but they could get $24, $25 for these samplers for release easily, and they do it for free for a year. So if you download them, don't do any complaining. They're giving this out for free. Okay? All right. And I've seen people complain, and I'm like, eh. Okay. So I decided I'm going to start this. I'm starting it on New Year's Day. They gave like a blue and a white and I think a yellow, I believe, as suggested colors. I pulled like 5 or 6 different Vicky Clayton silk spools that I've just had sitting around and said, you know what, I'm just going to use stash. We're going to just go with what we have. But I did start with an off-white, just like the pattern had. And this is one that you can color your own and run with it. And some people are really running with it with some really cool colors, and also switching up some of the stitches and putting like satin stitches in where there's crosses on the pattern and really making it their own, which is kind of cool. So far, I'm just following the pattern. I only have part of part 1 done. I am stitching this on 40 count nutmeg from Atomic Ranch, and the color keeps me going slow because it is so dark. But this is what I have done so far. It looks like it's off here, but that's just my fabric is a little wonky right now. The diamond is correct. So that's that so far. So that was my New Year's Day start this year. And I kind of been like, oh, am I going to regret this color? But I don't think I will. Once it's done, I think it's going to look awesome. But because of the dark color, it is, and because it's on 40 count on a dark color, it's a little bit of a slower stitch. Okay. Then the only other start so far this year, which I'd intended to start it a little bit earlier in January, but got sidetracked with WIPGO, was one of my friends that goes to various retreats. I've seen her off and on at a bunch of different retreats over the years. Her name's Joanna. She lives up in Maine. And I believe she's involved with the library retreat up in Maine that apparently has taken over quite a bit of a chat. She wanted to get together with a group of people and stitch a piece called Oh Christmas Tree from All Through the Night, which is this cute little one here. And I was like, sure, I'll jump in on that. Didn't have the pattern, bought the pattern. And, you know, it was like, you know, stitch it from stash. Find your own flosses, find your own fabrics. Let's see what people come up with. Fine, I can do that. So entirely stitched from stash other than grabbing the pattern here. My fabric is an exclusive that I bought years ago at the World in Stitches. This is a color that is called the World in Stitches. And it's very close to a fabric called Tobias when I looked on the website for Seraphim Fabrics. That's probably the closest to it. It's kind of a medium brown. It's coming up a little darker on my screen. Can't focus camera. A little darker than what it probably is in person. And then I just decided to grab one of the big hunks of Threadworks that I had. So that is what I'm going to do the whole thing in. Is this pretty russet red. And it's kind of funny because as you stitch it in, it actually looks a little bit darker. But yeah, it's kind of like a cranberry, well, kind of cranberry red, but got a little more of a flamey tint to it. So not a big start so far. I've only got about 50 stitches in, but I want to get it started. So that's where that is. But I think once I really get going on this, once I get the tree limbs in, I think this is going to go really, really fast. So that's my other start for the year. Other than that, my focus has been entirely on WIPGO so far this year. So I have January's and February's WIPGO to show you. And then we're done. So first piece that got pulled for the year, of course, is the largest piece that I have going other than that denim band sampler that currently is on hiatus. Water Garden got pulled up by Chatelaine. I do not have the full printed picture of it. It's all over online. The picture I have is like that big that's on the pattern, because if there's one thing with Chatelaine patterns is that the photographs are awful. So, old patterns, you know. But this is where I'm at after getting my January WIPGO done on it. I am... The whole piece is probably out a little bit past the hoop. This is a quilting hoop, which is why it's so massive. But for the sake of this piece, it just works really, really well. So I can, right now as I'm working this whole thing, you know, the center mandala, I can really wrap around. For WIPGO, I have been focusing on all these brown lines, and then starting to do the zigzag outline of the lighter yellowish brown on the inside of it. So that's what I worked on. My goal on WIPGO this year is 1,000 stitches during the month on a piece. So I think I got about 1,100 on this one in January. And that's where that is. I absolutely love the centers of these chatelaines. I could have just finished and just done that, and you know, and just done that centerpiece, and I would be really, really happy and just frame that. But I will do this entire piece. I will say, because this is my second chatelaine piece, this one is so much easier to stitch than Deep Blue Sea. I've made so much more progress faster on this one, Part of it, I think, is the fabric. Part of it is also this one's entirely in DMC so far. And DMC just goes faster because it's a little more forgiving. But yeah. And in case you're wondering, because you'll see this on some of my pieces, I have just a little back stitched arrow. That's just this end up while I'm stitching. Once I get to where I'm beading it, I'll pick that out and put my beads in there. But yeah, that's just so I don't get myself completely lost and start putting my crosses in the wrong way. I have it on Deep Blue Sea too, and I think there's a couple other pieces that when I was doing my witch's wheel, I had this end up arrow on it. That's just my way of noting it. Let me put you back over here. You'll be safer there. Okay, so that was the first of my 2 WIPGOs. Then my other January WIPGO was Hugs and Kisses from Blue Ribbon Designs. This is a piece I've had going now for many years. And it kind of gets worked on, and then it kind of goes back into the WIP pile, and it just kind of, it's not a hard piece. I don't know why I kind of just do a little bit of it and then it goes away. But I did notice when I was working on it this time, I was getting a little more of a rhythm on it. So that tells me that maybe it's time for it to get done, because I seem to be really interested in working on it. And really the only reason I put it down was because the next month's WIPGO was coming. But like, I may do for Stitch Mania this year, instead of doing a crazy number of pieces, I may monomania it this year. And like monomania until I get a piece done, and then pick up another piece and see if I can get that done. That might be my mania this year. But here's where I am on this one and the original. So I'll put this up. This is all I've got of I lost the original color a long time ago. So this is the bottom, this green here. So there's a little bit more to add for my frame boxes, but I mean, this one's getting done. So I think this is going to be a finish for this year, one way or the other. It's an easy piece for me to bring to retreats. And yeah, so we'll put this on the 26 finish pile. I am stitching this with DMCs, not the called fors. And it's on a piece of 28 count silk weaver, but it was out of stash and it was out of a label box, so I'm not sure what it is. It might have been a solo, if I remember right. So I don't know what the color is, but it's pretty. And that's where that is. So you'll see this again this year, because this is on my finish pile for 2026. Okay, so that's January. February, I've finished one of my WIPGO pieces, and I am still working on the other. or better say, I haven't started it yet. But I've got a blizzard coming in the next 24 hours, so I've got plenty of stitching time because I'm not going anywhere. All right, so first February WIPGO is Miss Lucy Calcutt, 1825, from Just Stitching Along. I love this sampler. I saw this one on the wall at Celebration of Needlework in Nashua in, I want to say, 2018. She was there at the retreat in the sales hall. She had the sample copy of it hanging up on the wall, and I just fell in love with her. She's just happy. The colors in this one are just so happy. And she was 8 when she stitched this thing. So it's just such a different color palette than so many of the others, and I'm like, oh, I have to have this one. It is charted for both DMC and Veriswa. I'm doing mine no, I'm not doing it in DMC. I'm doing mine in a Vicky Clayton conversion. That's on Vicky Clayton's website. So I am doing it in silks, but not the Veriswa. So that's what that looks like. And here is where I am to date on it. And my WIPGO for this one is done for the month. Let me balance this here. So during WIPGO, I did all but like a couple of rows of this basket. So all of this up here is what I've done this month. And this is stitched, this is on Vanilla Latte from Bestitch Me. It's a 36 count linen. And just a super pretty sampler. Absolutely gorgeous color palette. Really, really cute. And like all of the motifs on it are just enough, and then you can move on. So I had planned this month, if I got done with both of my WIPGOs, to come back just to finish these berries. But because this past week was such a disaster, I haven't started the WIPGO yet, so I don't think I'm going to get back to this this month. But she'll be coming back out again. She's not going to get done this year. But what I wanted to do this month was get these motifs up, because right above this motif is where the border starts going around. And because that border is so repetitive, as you can see, I want to be able to work on a little bit of a border at a time as I do like a motif and then a section of border, just so it's not so monotonous. But yeah, I really like her, and this is one of those ones I can't wait to get done, because she needs to go on my wall, because she's happy, and her colors just make me smile, you know, and it's good to have pieces like that, especially when so many of the reproduction samplers are more muted colors. This one it's just so different. I love her. So that was my first WIPGO piece of February. And then the second piece, which I haven't started yet, I'll be starting on it tomorrow. If you join me for the live stream at 3 o'clock, this is what I'm going to be working on, because I got 1,000 stitches to do on it by the end of February. And yeah. Okay, this is Live on Little from Plum Street Samplers. Really pretty piece. I joined a group of stitchers in 2022 when we went to the farm up in New Hampshire, and we all decided to start this at the same time. At least a couple of people have finished it, but I don't think that many people have yet. I had the not so brilliant idea to start with the house. I figured I'd get the hardest part of it done first, which means that I'm getting bored to tears with doing bricks. And it's a lot of counting. But I'm going to continue with that plan and get that house done before I move on. Or at least until I can like move off the house to outline spots that I can fill in during retreats. One or the other. We'll figure it out. So that's where that is. Let's see. All right, so I am doing this on 40 count Old Massachusetts from Primitive Hair. They have the Old Salem, which is the 30 count, and then the Old Massachusetts, which is the 40 count. This is a coffee dyed fabric, and I absolutely love it. And that is what I have done so far. I had to do a bit of fixing because I had it miscounted. But yeah, those bricks are a little bit tedious, but they're going to look so awesome when they're done. So that's where I am. I'm doing it with the charted flosses, which I have to remember. mostly DMC with a little bit of Weeks Dye Works and a couple of Crescent Colors or Classic Color Works, as the case may be now. So my plan is to continue with the bricks, but because of what's going on with my timing, I may see about where I'm at with matching things up and maybe starting the line for the green over here to start creating fill-in spots so that I have it for retreats. And then I don't have to do a lot of busy work with counting while I'm at a retreat, but I can get a lot of progress done. So that's where that is. And that catches you up on all of my insanity since the last time I was on. I did not mean for it to be this many months. I did not want my channel to look like it was abandoned. It's just been crazy. You know, we've had some weird shifts with my husband's job. He's now commuting much further than he used to, and it's just adjusting to everything. So, but my goal is that I've posted my planned video schedule in my YouTube. There's a post section. I have all of the upcoming live streams posted there. My planned dates that I'm going to upload new videos. We're planning on it. It's about every other week. I'm going to do one on a Thursday. Fingers crossed. They might not be long, but I want to get myself posting. So, and to get myself into a bit of a schedule. So that's the plan. But I will keep that updated with plans for live streams, for upcoming posts. My goal is Thursdays, every other Thursday going forward for videos. We'll see if I can stick to that. Help me stick to that. Harass me, please. And I don't know what we're going to have yet for WIPGO for March, so that will be in my next video. But yeah, come join me on Sundays. I would love to see you on Sunday. And tomorrow might be kind of interesting, depending on when this snowstorm hits. For the record, I am in the area that, as of when I checked an hour and a half ago, we were in the 18 to 24 inch snow band. So we're going to get nice and cozy here on Monday. And we're not going anywhere. If we still have power, I'm going to have to work, but I work from home generally on Mondays anyway, and my son was sent home with a laptop, so it's almost a definite he's going to have remote school on Monday. And then I'll kick him out of the house and he can go sledding. So, all right. Well, it is 1 o'clock in the morning, so I should probably get to bed since I've got videos to do tomorrow and live streaming to do. But thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, take care, everybody. Have a good night. Bye.